Configuring the MegaSUM data logger requires a series of orderly and intuitive steps. As shown in the previous video, start the DAC software and select the MegaSUM model from the target menu in order to load the correct graphical interface for configuration. Start by setting the device identity. The identity entry can be left unchanged, while the station name field allows you to assign a name to the site or installation point. The station identifier is numeric and is also associated with the Modbus address, useful for any queries from external systems. Continue by configuring Modbus communication. Indicate which port is dedicated to Modbus listening, selecting it from the available interfaces, for example, COM1, COM2, and so on. Define the transmission speed for each port, choosing the correct protocol among RS-232, RS-485, or SDI-12. Access the modem section. Enter the telephone operator's APN and, if required, also configure the NTP server for automatic synchronization of the data logger's internal clock. Set the time zone by expressing the offset in decimal hours, for example 3.5, to indicate 3.5 hours. Now move on to the parameters section. Set any thresholds or offsets for the measurement. For example, configure an initial level parameter for a level sensor, defining the initial value in meters. Open the network interface section to set the network parameters. Assign a static IP address and verify that the configuration matches the network to which the data logger will be connected. Proceed with data acquisition. Right-click on the acquisition entry and select Insert Serial Acquisition. This function allows you to configure the interface with smart sensors that use protocols such as Modbus or SDI-12. Set the sensor polling frequency in seconds, select the serial port to which it is connected, and define the communication mode, for example, RS-232 or RS-485. Within the acquisition, add a Modbus request, specify the address of the device to be queried and the starting register. Indicate the number of registers to read and the data type, for example float, for sensors that return floating point numerical values. For direct acquisition from physical channels, select the type of quantity to be measured, for example temperature. Assign a name to the measurement, such as air temperature, and specify the physical channel, for example channel 1 for a PT100 connected at the input. After configuring the acquisition, proceed with data processing. Right-click and select Insert Elaboration. Choose the type of processing, Standard, to calculate average, minimum, and maximum, or specific processing for rain or wind. Set the time interval for processing, for example, 600 seconds for an average every 10 minutes. Define the minimum validity threshold, which is the percentage of valid data required for the average to be considered valid. The processing results will be displayed in non-editable outputs, automatically assigned by the data logger, such as average, minimum, and maximum. Then move on to storage. Right-click on Storage and select Insert. Set the same time interval as the processing, for example 600 seconds. In some cases, it is possible to differentiate the storage frequency from the processing frequency, according to specific needs. Specify the destination archive, generally file 6, and enable the backup option on the SD card, leaving the default value active. Select the measurement to be stored, for example, the average temperature, and associate the correct measurement ID. At this point, configure the transmission. Right-click on Transmission and select Insert Transmission. The most common transmission method is via FTP, but SMS, Iridium, GOES Meteosat, and UHF radio modes are also supported. In the case of FTP transmission, activate the channel and set the interval, for example 600 seconds. Enter the FTP server address. Specify the archive to be transmitted, usually always file 6, and enter the login credentials. Optionally, add a remote path. Configure the connection timeout, for example 60 seconds. If the server does not respond within the established time, the data logger will stop the sending attempt. Once the configuration of all modules is complete, save the project and proceed with sending it to the data logger. To learn more about all the features of MegaSUM, consult the complete technical manual available on the manufacturer's website.